Welcome to Retail Brand Discovery, the podcast where we share conversations on exceptional brands and the creators who are bringing innovation to your stores. Join your host, Chris Stanton, as we embark on a journey to uncover the stories of these remarkable companies and their impact on the retail industry. And now here's your host, Chris Stanton.
Hello, it's Chris Stanton again from Retail Brand Discovery. Thanks for joining us today again on another podcast. Since last year, we've gained over 1,000 subscribers, and we're hoping to grow that this year. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and connect. And today I'm going to introduce you to my good friend, John Gardner. John is CEO of Luckie. They are a marketing solutions company based in Atlanta, Georgia. And today we're going to talk to John about retailing and some of the solutions that Luckie offers. And we're gearing this toward retailers, but we're also going to include the CPG market. Why don't we bring John in and say a quick hello?
Hey, Chris, thank you for having me. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, really nice to have you. And hey, it was a great dinner last night.
I totally agree. I wish we'd have recorded it. We probably would have been a little more entertaining.
Yeah, we probably would have been finished by now, right? I think the Super Tuscans and whatever else followed after that
Absolutely
helped make for a vibrant conversation. Why don't you share a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. Appreciate it. I like to say I've just gotten a little blunder over the years.
Like what?
30 years in this business, I've seen a lot of change from the early days of traditional advertising and marketing in our space through the digital transformation that occurred in the 2000s to now where we are in this hyper-personalized environment driven by AI. And what we've seen and what we're going to talk about today is how we have to be prepared to navigate that disruption. Because what we're seeing at Luckie, and I think what we would love to impart some wisdom on our brands and our retailers, is our consumers are better prepared for the future than we are in the business at times. And my experience is if we allow the consumers to navigate that disruption faster than we do, we're going to be left behind.
Okay. I want to drop in a couple things here. For one, I want you to tell me a little bit about what Luckie does, right? And secondly, before I do that, I want to talk about you and your team and who you are, because what we do here is there's a lot of credibility that takes place, and it's not just somebody that's hanging out a shingle saying, here's what we've got these solutions. John, and you and your team, you've worked with brands such as L'Oreal, Galderma, Glaxo, Procter & Gamble, Crown Labs.
What's great in the marketing consulting space, the marketing solution space, agency space, it's all about the people and their experiences they can bring to bear. And at Luckie, I feel like we're unbelievably unique is that we're a combination of veterans from the agency space, but we also have brought in leaders from the client space, former chief operating officer of Crown, head of analytics for Smith & Nephew and Galderma, a brand leader at GSK, because we have to navigate this landscape with a lens to what the market is doing, but also what industry does. And I think Luckie brings a unique combination of the science of data and the art of marketing. You blend that together to create deeper connections for our clients' customers.
So when you say marketing and industry, who are you talking? What industry are we talking about specifically?
When I think about marketing in our from Luckie's perspective, we'll compete with the traditional agencies, the consultancies. When I think about industry, it's those clients, partners of ours that are looking to drive demand. They're looking to create a transaction, whether for Regions Bank, they're trying to get a checking account, a loan, whether it's Little Debbie Snack Cakes, they're trying to drive demand at shelf, or our travel clients are trying to get ahead in bed. So ultimately, the ability to understand the business impact we're trying to make, and we at Luckie and in our space look to solve that in the most innovative, connective way possible.
So let's jump right into this part where I think most retailers would have interest in learning from you, and that is what you brought up, the triad, the convergence of three specific places. Why don't you talk about that?
Absolutely. In our experience, in our position, is that there's a interdependent relationship between the customer or consumer, the brand, and the retailer. For decades, they've been allowed to operate almost cannibalistic or adversarial. The brand is begging for shelf space from a retailer, yet they expect the brands to drive customers to their shelf. And so the emergence of an informed customer, a consumer that is more empowered than ever, is going to force that triad to look at how we work together, the brand and the consumer and the retailer. But I think for our audience today, the most impactful and probably the most difficult to leverage is this brand retailer relationship. Because in our experience, and we've been in this business a long time, is the brands were subservient in a way to the retailer. Can I get shelf space? Will you please give me a price increase? Right. And the more that we align that triad with the brands working with the retailers, we're going to serve our customers better.
Yeah, and when it comes right down to it, this triad, which I think is a great way to idealize this, the nice thing about it is what happens is when you put these three parties together, it all takes place in the store, right, where the consumer now is making these decisions. And typically, at least 68% of the time, these guys are doing it on their phones.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's not the retailer. As you pointed out before, I thought you mentioned something about the retailer being more about the transaction.
Yeah, so if we think about the state of this relationship, the brands know their customer. They know their motivations, their psychology. The retailers know their behaviors, when they come, how they buy. So by being able to look and correlate that behavior, intention, motivation with transaction, you become much more powerful. But Chris, you were talking about that the impact of point of sale. The phone, it's everything from I'm scanning to understand, is this product good for me? Right. To can I scan this at at shelf, and does Amazon offer it cheaper? Right. And so this idea of the days of the Mad Men, where Lucky was founded in 1953, and we could create a 30-second spot, drive demand, a retailer was prepared to accept them. Now, we've got 6 seconds. Nobody's watching linear TV. You're skipping. And so that interaction between brand and retailer and customer at the aisle, at the shelf, is far more valuable and difficult today. And if we work together, either through better use of co-op dollars, better use of incentives, better use of loyalty, we benefit the customer, the brand, and the retailer.
Yeah, and you know what I think is interesting is that what we're saying is rather obvious, and it's spoken about all of the time. Retailers want to have better relationships with suppliers, and suppliers want to have better, all for a positive outcome. But I think what you're talking about is actually making this more tangible, more touchy-feely, so that there really is an opportunity for both of them to work like that.
Absolutely. And, I look at it back in the early 2000s. I was working with Cetaphil and had an amazing brand manager, and he wanted to increase price at Target by 25 cents.
Good luck.
And what was amazing, he came to us and said, can you look at our data, look at our customer? And we were able to show that a Cetaphil buyer that came to Target, their basket size was significantly bigger than Dove Neutrogena. And by using that data, we became a partner versus an adversary to the buyer at Target.
So they saw the advantage.
They saw the advantage.
Add the quarter. Because
what we have to do is understand, as a retailer brand, we're trying to create loyalty or proxy to loyalty, which is really customer lifetime value. How do I get that customer to come loyal to my brand and my store and spend more? And when we were able to leverage that relationship and say that this customer that comes into Target spends a little more, why would you want me to drive them to Walmart?
Right.
And so it's that idea of that it doesn't have to be adversarial. The same way we would beg for retailers to share data so that we could better develop our products and our offers to drive them there, but they wouldn't share it with us. And so if all we do in this triad is we understand that the retail and the brand, all they want to do is get that customer to the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And once they're at the shelf, that product is not switched. It is put in the basket, and the basket is full of other products. We both win.
Great. And before we talked about this at length last night, I think it's really, really exciting. And I think it really underscores what Luckie offers retailers and CPG. If you could just in a minute or two talk about the 4 I's.
Absolutely.
And not our glasses, but.
So, been in this business way too long, and we all were taught the framework of the 4 P's of marketing. I believe product, price, place, and promotion. You know, those things that originated in the 1960s and very push-driven.
Right.
Well, what happened is about 15 years ago, I wrote a book about the new 4 P's of marketing that were more about personalization and predictive modeling and peer-to-peer and participation, social and data. So I was going to dust that off, and I realized the world is disruptive. Think about this as a decade ago, would we have gotten in a car with a stranger? Would we have rented a house from somebody we didn't know?
Instead